Alright, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and welcome to Part 8 of 13 in our Rankin Technical College Summer Adventure Academy web design, and we're building a Bootstrap website. Alright, what we want to get to in this particular example, just so you see it, is we want to take what we had been working on before. And of course I've got a bunch of garbage in here. 7. This is what we did last time. That's where we got to. Alright, so I want to take that and I want to convert it to this. Oh, I don't know why that's in there, but it is. Okay, so the bottom line is, if you look here, we want to take and add images right there. Does that make sense? Alright. But before we do, let's talk a little bit about images in here. Alright, what I did was I went in here and into my Jumbotron I added 3 images. Just to show you, it's the same image. This is a standard, So this is a typical thumbnail image. Alright, so I grabbed a graphic, and I just want to be able to try to show you both of these at once here. Alright, so let me move this. So that's this. I put a thing in my images folder called car.jpg. The alt text, which you should always do, is car. Now sometimes it's kind of hard to figure out exactly. You don't have to put in the weight, width, and height, although it's recommended that you do that to make it easier on the browser. So how did I figure that out? Well, I didn't. But I know that there are different ways. Sometimes if you just put your mouse over it like this, see where it says 256 by 192? Sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. But you can always go in and open with, choose Internet Explorer, there it is. Once it's open in Internet Explorer, right mouse click on it and choose Properties. 256 by 192. That's where I got those values from. Alright, but here I said class equal thumbnail, and that's why it looks the way that it does. Alright, then I went and did it again, and in the next example that's right here, let me move this over. We now have image equal rounded. Now that's not the circle, that's rounded corners. So it looks exactly, these two things look exactly the same, except in the first one, the one that we showed right there, that I'm just hiding, that said class equal thumbnail. This one says image equal rounded. And the last one again is the same, but it says image equal circle. Alright, so why am I telling you that? Well, the first thing that I want to do is I want to remove all those. You'll see why in just a moment. Alright, and let's see if that's back to the way I want it to look. Yes, it is. Okay, so why did I tell you that? Well, what we're about to do is we're about to come in here, and the other thing that I have in here are, I've got an HTML5 logo, I've got a CSS3 logo, and I've got a Bootstrap logo. But these weren't very well set up to be able to show you the rounded, etc. So I'm not going to do those. Alright? Instead, and I really should have kept that, I guess. That's okay. I'm going to manually add these in here. So we've got here HTML5, and before we even put in that h3 tag, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put in a href equals https://www.w3schools.com/html/intro.asp. Okay, so that's the start. And then we also want to add in there target. So we want to open up into a new window, equals underscore new, and we want to say class equal thumbnail. All right, so that's all good. But now the other thing we want to put in here is we want to, inside of here, we want to add our image. Image source equal images slash HTML5, that was the HTML5 logo, dot ping width equals, it's 225 by 225. And I saw that I spelled that wrong. That should be SRC. All right, so I've got all that stuff. And I really should have alternate text too. And it'll just say HTML5 logo. And my A tag. And let's see what it looks like now. Okay, so I've got my first image in there. And now I've got to put in the other two. All right. Good news is they're almost all identical. I picked images that were the same size. So I'm just going to grab everything here. And I'm going to paste that in right before the CSS3. So that'll have to change a little bit. We want the image to say CSS3. And this will say CSS3. And I don't remember if it's CSS or CSS. It is CSS3. But again, notice 225 by 225, 225 by 225, and the bootstrap, which we'll do in a minute, 225 by 225. All right. So that's done, except that address is now wrong because I don't want it to go to the HTML. We want it to go to the CSS tutorial. All right, so we now have that one in. So let's go take a look. So we now have our second image in there. And now we've got to put in our bootstrap image. So again, let's copy this. We'll plunk it right in there right before our bootstrap. So this will have to change to bootstrap. This will have to change to bootstrap. And for this one, let's go, since we just found, I just noticed they have a bootstrap tutorial. So let's go to that. We'll link to that. Just do something different. All right. So there's our site. It's really coming together. So in this particular video, we added these three images. And notice if we click here, let me close all this stuff. All right, so right here, sorry, I think okay. All right. So right here, when I click, it opens up in a new window the HTML5 tutorial. If I click here, it opens up in a new window the CSS tutorial. And if I click here, it opens up in a new window. Whoa, sorry, the page can't be found. Well, that isn't good. So well, that's what I put in. ASPP. How about that? One more time. Why you should always go back and test your code. And there's the bootstrap tutorial. So again, what I showed you in this video, we first went in and in my Jumbotron, I went in and I added 3 different pictures of a car. The first one I added as a thumbnail, which is what all three of the ones that you see on your screen are. The second one I added with rounded corners, and the third one I added with, made it a circle. Now we could have done that in here, but I just didn't think the effect would have been as dramatic. Okay? I actually did try it, and it just was very hard to tell. So that's it for this particular chapter, or this set of lectures, I guess. So as I always do, I'm going to stop my runs here. All right, and I'm going to come in, I've saved, so I'm going to close that. And I'm going to come back over to here, and where I have my Chapter 8 stuff, I'm going to copy all of it, put it in here into Part 9, open that up, change this to Part 09, and run that. Okay? Still is, as far as I can tell at least, it still is looking good. All right. What we're going to do in the next set of videos, or the next video I should say, is we're going to come in and talk a little bit about Google Fonts. So I'll be back with that presentation shortly.